unmute that and go there, and there we are. Look, there we are, as if by magic. Now, I don't know if anyone can hear me or not, but hello. So tonight I'm talking about parental alienation. Ooh, that's a hot topic, isn't it? Hot topic if we ever had one. So I'm doing this just because people have been sending lots of messages. Does this constitute as parental alienation? Does that? Blah, blah, blah. So I thought, rather than trying to get back to everybody, because I'm limited on time and I want to make sure that I get to as much people as I can, I thought, let me just do a live, because I haven't done a live for a little while, and I'll let everyone know this way. And that sort of coincides with some work that I've been doing as well. So what we're going to start with is, ultimately, we all know what parental alienation is. Surely we do. Surely. It's when one parent is trying to push the other parent out of the child's life. It's like a process and a result of the child being manipulated by one parent or family member against the other. And children can be manipulated by negative verbal expressions and effective transferences, like body language, signals. There's everything that the parent does to try and put down the other parent. Even the most subliminal, smallest little detail, it over a period of time builds up and ultimately does what it needs to do. And from there, it's sort of downhill unless you're making sure that you're giving that child loads of love, loads of attention, loads of answers. Being honest with the child as well is always helpful. So there's this document that's come out, and it's done by Parental Alienation UK, Awareness UK, and it's epic. Yeah, so it's like, I'm gonna share it onto the group afterwards after I've done this, and it's got like a check sheet on it. So one thing for sure, right? There's different variances of parental alienation, right? So it's complicated, it's problematic. It impacts children's mental health. It impacts the person who's receiving its mental health. Yeah, it can get on top of you massively, and it's the most painful, most disgusting feeling in the world. And it's and it can come in so many different formats. Yeah. Now, if you live in it, you know what it is. If you don't live it and you think it's impossible, how many parents have I spoken to? How many dads have I spoken to who have said to me, "Oh my God," they didn't think it was even a thing, whereby they didn't realize how bad it was for people to be alienated from their kids, from different walks of life. And I'm only a small little business, and the people that are coming to me, they just never experienced anything like it at all, and they weren't ready for it either, because they didn't think it existed. They didn't think it would be. The courts are so one-sided, and there was a TikTok that was put out that I was tagged into, and it was about a woman saying, "Oh, no, deadbeat dads, we don't, big blame, fathers' rights groups. Bunch of men sitting there, can't be bothered to do their paperwork, just complaining and moaning about the women, and they think the whole court system's against them." That's the opinion of people, not just women, who of that sort of ilk, but that's the opinion of everyone, because they think the court system is going to be fair, and it's going to be right, and it's going to be doing what's right by the kids, and it doesn't always do that. There's different variants, different strategies of parental alienation. Yeah, bad mouthing is obviously the most obvious one, and it's and these are just the tick boxes. And this document is brilliant, yeah, because you can literally date it, time it, get evidence together for it as well, and it's like literally, it's epic. Yeah, so it's a couple of the examples, and I wonder if you can tick these off. Right, the other parent is going to give the impression the other parent is dangerous or sick. So does your ex make your child make you over exaggerate how bad you are and make you look like you're dangerous and sick? Yeah, the child isn't loved by that parent, which is why it's really important that you always tell your child how amazing they are, how brilliant they are, and how much you love them. Yeah, because no matter what you do, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I've one of the luckiest things I've done with my daughter is when she was younger, no matter what, who's amazing you are, I am too. I think it's backfired because she's so super confident now, but I'd much rather her be super confident now than not at all. Just so everyone knows, I can't see anyone's names, but if I can see a few bits on Facebook, but I can't see too much because I'm on StreamYard, so if I don't comment or respond to your questions, comments, I do apologise. So that's that. So I digress quite a lot, don't I? So that's one thing you can do to overcome that thing, that's when the other parent's slagging you off and saying you don't love that child, which potentially could happen, because it does happen. You can make sure you're telling that your daughter, your children, your little boy, you've got kids, 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them, 10 of them, whatever. Tell them all how amazing they are. Yeah, tell them all how great they are, because they will remember that. Yeah, and don't just you tell them. You get them to tell you. Yeah. Say another parent doesn't want to see the kids when it could be something as straightforward as like a dentist appointment, or you're stuck in traffic, or you're 1 minute late and then they've taken contact away. Yeah, and it's like, then you don't know what they're telling the kids. They're telling the kids, it's they've taken, your dad or mum doesn't want to see you because he wasn't here on time, you see, and you're literally 30 seconds late, literally. Yeah. And it happens. These things happen. I'm going through these, and I'm ticking them off myself. Yeah, bad mouthing of the parent to friends, family, community, professionals, agencies. Yeah, bad mouthing of the parent to authorities, children's services, police, school personnel, court personnel. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, these are behaviours, and so again, the only way you can overcome all of these things, in my view, which is something that I've worked on over the years. I wasn't originally very good at it because I'm like a gob on a stick, and I'm quite impulsive, and I say what I think, and I have to now make sure that I don't do all that stuff, and I have to make sure that my brain's in gear. But you've got to make sure that it's frustrating, because they are going to treat you like you are scum. Yeah, they're going to treat you like you're guilty. You're going to be treated like you're guilty, and you have to prove yourself innocent when it shouldn't be that way, but that's what it is. Everyone's going to form an opinion of you on what you look like on a piece of paper. They're not going to judge you for who you are. It's about what you look like on a piece of paper. So your behaviours have got to be like sort of bang on point, big time. Yeah. And if you are a dick, then say you're a dick. Own up to being a dick and get some help for it. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Yeah, we're all human, ultimately. So falsely telling the child someone else is his or her parent. So basically, I've had a couple of cases over the years where that has happened, where the parent who lives with the child lives with the parent, has told that child that the non-residing parent is not the parent, and that happened. It's just imagine what that is doing to the child, and the child who loves that parent. Yeah. And imagine this. Yeah, but just when you're next arguing with your partner, right, imagine this, just know this, right, that child or children love you both, right? You are their world. Yeah. And you're arguing with each other, and their world's broken because the two people they only know are you two, and you're both arguing. Their world's shattered. And why people can't see that, and I get it when you're going in the heat of it. I get it when you're in the heat of it. I've been there. My relationship was toxic. Yeah, I don't. I've got so many. I say to people, I've got no regrets. Of course, when I think about it, my biggest regrets are the arguments that I had with my ex-wife. The biggest regrets I had were them, and doing it in front of Lila. That's my biggest regrets. Yeah, that's what I'm guilty of a fucking bad parent and a bad human being. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I can see the impact of that on Lila these days, and I try and do what I can to fix it. But you can't change the past. All you can do is influence the future. Yeah, so that's what you've got to remember. No one's perfect. Everyone's shit stinks. Yeah, and I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Falsely telling the child that someone else is her parent. We've done that one. Referring to the other parent in front of the child by the first name or Mr. and Mrs. So you're treating the other parent like a transaction. Yeah, and you're doing that in front of the child. You're making it a transaction. And I can tell you from, again, personal experience, when that child is just used to that other parent just talking to you like a piece of something off your shoe, like permanently, forever, for 10 years. Imagine that for 10 years, that child, them children are going to be talking to you exactly the same way as your ex-partner did or does, because that's what they think is normal, because that's what they think is acceptable. And then as a human being, as a parent, you're going to get angry or you're going to get frustrated. You might end up taking it out on the child. Don't take it out on the child. That's not the child's fault. That's their version of normal. Yeah, that's what they've learned. That's what they've picked up on. It's not their fault. It's your fault, and it's your ex's fault. Your ex will blame you, so it's doubly your fault. Yeah, just take responsibility for it. Own it. Belittling the other parent in front of the child, we know that one's simple. Belittling the parent, belittling the other parent's hobbies or values. Yeah. So if you have a, I don't know, what do you call it? You collect stamps. Yeah, you collect stamps, and you've got a stamp group on Facebook, and you're talking about stamps all the time. The other parent's going to belittle that and make that seem insignificant and small and stupid. Yeah. Making sure that our child or children overhear conversations. Yeah, that's something that, you know, if you're doing that, or if you're aware, if you're doing it, if you're watching this and you think, shit, I've done that, and you're doing it subconsciously, these things happen subconsciously. You're angry, yeah, you're going to do things, and you're not going to be aware that you're doing them, but that's fine. But if you're thinking to yourself, shit, I'm doing it, fucking pull yourself off. That's all it is. Just to pull yourself off. Just because you're doing it doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. If just, you know, and if just because you do it, do you know what I mean? It's just how I see it. Imply one parent is a victim of the other parent. Always making out that they're the victim. Imply the child is a victim of the other parent. So everything that goes wrong in that child's life is your fault, basically. Yeah, if we can relate to that, then clap your hands. Enabling the child to give a negative third-party expressions about the other parent. How many of these boxes are we ticking, people? How many? Failing to correct negative but incorrect feedback about the other parent from others. So they've got friends having a dinner party. Imagine that. Yeah, you all have sitting around on a dinner party, or the family's around a Christmas dinner table, and then one of the family members or friend of your ex-partner slagging you off, and it's wrong information, and it's the wrong, totally bullshit, and the parent sits there and lets them say it. So you're giving a bad vibe to the child or children, and it's coming from somebody else now. So it's reinforcing what the alienator is saying, and you're like, oh, that's going to get into the child's brain, no? Trust me, it does. It does. Okay, and then you got your other one, which is again quite straightforward. It's limiting, interfering, or with visitation, parenting time, contact. So basically, I've come across a lot of this with my clients. It's like so the child you split up, yeah. You're in, I don't know, Scotland. Let's not go to Scotland because it's different law. Let's go just outside Scotland, whatever's below Scotland, wherever that area is. Like, I don't know, somewhere below Scotland, Sheffield. Let's say Sheffield. I went on in Sheffield. Sheffield. So you're living in Sheffield, right? And then you separated, and your ex-partner wants to just get up and go down to Cornwall. I'd say Cornwall. And then so you're up there, and then they're down there, and you're literally, there's no warning, no nothing, they've gone. And then you get criticised for making an application to court, just trying to prevent them fucking move. But the reality is from that they'll always get to move anyway. Always. Unless it's going overseas, in which case it's generally stopped. But if it's not always stopped, in fact, it's not always stopped at all. Only once I've done it. Only once, actually. No, it's very difficult. You see, it's very difficult. It's very difficult because it's like you can delay things, but if people want to do stuff, if mums want to do something, if they want to go, they'll go, and there's nothing people can do about it. You can put your applications in, you can fight it, and unless you've got a really strong cause for neglect, the likelihood of them being allowed to go is very high. So they're moving away without that reasonable warning, whilst the focus on the local authority, or whilst the focus of local authority concern is on them, or whilst legal proceedings are ongoing, or without any warning, hiding the children, concealing the move. How many of those cases have I supported? Limiting visitation needlessly. Yeah. So how many times have you been limited? And I've got nearly every single one of us that's happened to us. Nearly every single one of us. You've got no reason at all, and it just gets taken back. Excuses for lack of visitation. The child is sick. Parenting class, after school club. I remember having after school club. There was nearly an activity done every night of the week. Every night, without fail. And then the people are now moving into weekends as well. It's like 24/7 working. These kids have needed a personal life. They need a personal life. They need to have a life, not just with dad as well. They don't want to be doing schooling all the time. Jeez, fuck. Anyway, seeking alternative caregivers for the children. So rather than give a child to you, how many times have we seen this? God, rather than give a child to me, or I'm just down the road, they'd much rather give it to Jim Bob Jones down the road, the corner, that the child doesn't even want to go and spend time with. Is that not normal, no? Forgive me if I'm being a little bit too obvious with this, but it happens like so blatantly. Controlling what the children do and when they do it in front of the other parent. Yeah, so again, offering the child or the other parent activities incompatible with the visiting regime. So basically, for example, imagine this: organising a Holy Communion party on the same day as you're having contact. You give the person who's going to go and collect a non-residing parent offers a compromise, and you expect the other party, who you're co-parenting with, to offer compromise back with you. But that doesn't happen, does it? No, you get hit the wall, and you're like, and then when they want to change what they want to do, and it suits them, that's what they do. They'll change it, and they'll suit them, and then you argue with it, and you get nowhere. That's how it is. And trust me, I spent years arguing it. I don't bother anymore. I just let it go and be like, no. But then comes back and bites you in the ass. I'll tell you that in a minute. I'll tell you a story about that in a little while. If I'm still here, if in an hour's time, I've only got an hour because I've got work to do. So there we are. So adverse calls to agencies during visiting time, arranging fun activities during the other parent's parenting time, letting the child loose, whether we're letting the child choose whether to visit the parent. Oh my God, nearly all the time, isn't it? 90% of the time, where he didn't want to go, they didn't want to go, she didn't want to go, didn't want to come out the door, didn't want to get. They were hiding underneath the bed. Yeah, I couldn't find them. They were underneath the stairs. They were in the shed, around the back of the shed. Yeah, they were just bad. Do they do that when they go to school, do they? You don't do that when they go to school. No, they don't. They don't do that when they go to school. You're saying, fuck off and go to school, so I'm going to see my mates, get them a cup of tea and get down to Starbucks or whatever, or go down shopping. That's what you're saying. But when it comes to getting to go with a non-residing parent, and I'm being really politically correct when I say that, when it comes to the non-residing parent, it's like, fuck no, you fucking stay there, son. I don't want you coming out from underneath that table. Doesn't want to see you. Can't do anything. I can imagine. Do you think these people who do this, do you think they can realise how stupid they look or sound when they say it in court? Yeah, sorry, just didn't want to do it. Didn't want to come out from underneath the table. Couldn't do anything about it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't parent the child. It was its own choice. Yeah, no problem at all. Asking the school to limit contact with the other parent. Letting the child loose, choose whether it's not letting the child see the other parent at the other parent's extended family's home. So then they don't just block out the extended yourself. They just they push that over to the extended family as well. Now, I'm lucky like that. I've got no family. I've got they're there, but they're not really there. They're not really there. If that makes sense. They're all dead to me. They're pretty much probably in terms of funerals. That's how it is. So probably there's no doubt about it. I won't be. I'm not. Limiting the child's contact with the other parent's extended family. I was actually alienated from my own family. I'm just pointing that out there. Not for no reasons of my own other than bullshit, by the way. Limiting child's contact with the other parent's extended family. Calling or visiting during the other parent's parenting time. Insisting on later pickups and earlier drop-offs than planned. They change the times, don't they? They move the goalposts, don't they? They always move the goalposts. Always move the goalposts when it suits them. I've got a couple of people now who have got like communication from the other party, when they've just literally backtracked and changed it over and swapped and done all sorts of shit. And it's like, you don't know what you want, but you're telling me to stick to this order. Jeez, making handovers difficult always, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you for the nice comments. Following the other parent with the child. Following the other parent with the child. Okay, yes, that makes sense. Spying on them, making them feel like they're not able to parent. Not rearranging direct or indirect contact when it doesn't happen. So therefore, we've all been there when you've said to the court or the judge has said to you, right, so if that contact doesn't happen that weekend, you make sure it follows it back on the following weekend. Does that ever happen? No. You've got plans the following weekend as well. And then next thing you know, the whole calendar dates shift and change and move. And then you're like, your version of 2 weeks turns into 3 or 4 weeks, and that's to make sure that it goes balancing back to for something that's like probably about 8 weeks later that the residing parents cared that's caring for the child has planned for, so it falls on their weekend and it suits them as well. Then has anyone experienced that as well? Because that's a bitch when that happens, isn't it? And it's like the amount of times I'm like, I was like, back in the day, I used to argue about it, like anything I used to really upset me. And now I'm just like, I don't even bother now. Again, and there's a story behind that as well, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to save that for the people that really matter. There will be a time when this story comes out, obviously. But there's strategies. Another one. There's so many of these strategies. I could go on all night with this. I've got so much material here. It's unbelievable. But this is really, really good shit. Really good shit. Yeah. Not providing the telephone numbers for the child. Not arranging realistic timings for telephone contact. Blocking calls, cancelling the phone time, placing the mobile phones on flight mode, blocking numbers, turning off the mobile phone, turning off the volume to ring 0 so the child doesn't hear it, or hiding the phone, intercepting the child's calls, listening to the calls and answering for the child, hindering the child's telephone contact. How many of these are literally? I've got like 3 boxes that I've not ticked so far out of all these 3 boxes. Not providing email addresses. Monitoring the child's calls, emails, posts, disposing of mail, destroying mail, and concealing mail. That's a bitch when that happens. You spend money on all this like gifts and shit, you get it posted, and then suddenly you get told that it gets put in the bin. Awkward. Interfering with the mail, throwing out, hiding letters, hindering the child's computer, internet access. Not facilitating the internet service, turning off the internet service. I can tick those boxes now. Hoovering the vicinity in indirect contact, i.e. when you're doing Skype or video call and suddenly the fucking Hoover comes on, or the fucking start chopping the trees down at the back and start controlling access by means, i.e. password changes, not facilitating equipment. These are all little tactics that over years, over time, will impact the child. It will impact the child, I'm telling you now. And the child will need support, a lot of support. Yeah. Limiting the mention of the other parent, not saying that other parent's name. Imagine that 10 years of not being able to say your dad's name in your own home. Imagine that. And then that suddenly turns into photos. And then suddenly it's you're not allowed to say their name in photos, and you're not even allowed to mention anything. You can't even, you say his name, fucking the whole world's going to fucking know about it. Not allowing the child to bring their items home. You got to think this is the first time I'm reading this as well, so this is exciting for me. First time, not letting the child bring the items home from the other parents. Alien. Jeez, I've never expected that to happen to me. Never. No, that's never happened to me. Never. Throwing out, disallowing gifts or of other connections from the other parent. Telling the other parent that their child doesn't love him or her. Fuck, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. If that never happened to me, it would have hurt. It did. It did at the time, doesn't anymore. You can sort of get used to it. So now it's like water for ducks back. I know my daughter loves me. Interfering with denial of this parent's information about children at the school, ting, with the family, ting, medical information, ting, and other problems, ting, 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 ting. There you go. Not letting the non-residing parent have a say in the schooling. Refusing communications with over the other agencies. Using child as a messenger for wrong information about agencies. Ting, 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 ting. Making decisions are agencies without consulting the other parent. Ting, 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 ting. Now, if anyone's experiencing this is parental alienation, folks. This is it. And these aren't my rules. I've written some stuff that tick these boxes, but I didn't have as much detail as this. I've got a few that aren't on here, but I tell you what, if this was rolled out into like legislation or something, I swear to God, how many of us would be like clapping our hands and being like, because I tell you now, I put money on it. I put money on this, right? I put money on, I don't know this for sure yet. But I bet you any money, right, that I as a dad I am going to be made to be the person, and we don't know this is for sure. This is not even materialized. It's not even materialized. It's not even, nothing's been said. I swear to you, my daughter's life. I bet you I'm going to be made to look like I'm alienating my daughter from Emma's mum. I put money on it. I put money on it. I put money on that. Conditional parenting, withdrawing the love of the child. Withdrawing the love if the child is positive about the other parent. Making the child feel guilty about the relationship they have with the other parent. Making it appear as if the other parent was rejecting the child. That happened to me at all. When I went to India with Vandana, I was like, fucking, it was like the end of the world. They were allowed to go to Turkey and have their fucking holidays, don't they? And not that that was in my dream, it didn't really happen. Making it appear as if this parent was rejecting the child, interrogating the child after visits with the other parent, forcing the child to choose express loyalty, forcing the child to reject the other parent, rewarding the child by rejecting the other parent, rewarding the child for not going with the other parent, and rewarding the child with extra gifts for not going with the other parent to make it feel that it's having a better time with the other parent, because it's all materialistic bullshit. What they do is they buy their children's love. They buy it, and then they take the objects back when they fucking give it. Yeah, that's what they do. And inducing the children to reject the other parent's extended family. I did that myself, actually. Although no, actually that was part. It's all me in terms of making sure my daughter doesn't go nowhere next to my extended family, because they're all fucked up. And that wasn't me that fucked them up. That was my mum and dad. I was quite lucky to get away. With the help of the people who brought me up instead of my mum and dad, because they're pretty fucking useless. There we are. So deteriorating the child's image of the other parent's new relationships. Maybe you were good, but I mean, you ended up cheating on me. But Lila did, and Lindsay did sort of help influence that a little bit, didn't they? Let's be honest. And let's be honest, they tried that with Vandana as well, but because I wasn't shagging her, it was like a little bit different, wasn't it? We're just friends. So there we go. So rebuking the children by if phoning the other parent, encouraging the children to challenge or defy the other parent's rules and authority, ridiculing the child for showing affection towards the other parent, frightening the child by telling them that the other parent will cause them some kind of harm. Ridiculing the child, showing the child's affection, ridiculing the child for showing affection towards the other parent. Frightening the influence, inducing enmeshment, promoting, inducing parentification, adultification, infantilization, spouseification, cultivating the child's dependence, having secret signals with the child, having child keep secrets from the other parent, rewarding the child's disrespectful behavior towards the other parent. Do you know what? I've never done that. Do you know that's one thing I've never done? Even when them two have been bitching at each other, and it's been happening a lot recently because for whatever reason, I'm not the one sending Lila a message, and they can fucking look at the phones and do. I'm the one sending a message saying, you got to fucking talk to your mum. You got to make up. You need your mum. You might not need her today. You might need her tomorrow. You got a good. I did think she was good until I found a few things out recently. But you know, she can have a bad 10 years and then change things today, change things tomorrow. It doesn't matter. We all change. I don't hold any grudges, not me. Sharing personal information with the child, i.e., marriage issues, telling the child about stuff that they shouldn't need to know about or didn't need to know about. Sharing other inappropriate information, finances, court, child support, child maintenance, not paying child maintenance, Jason. Blah, blah, blah. I am actually just fucking trolls included somewhere, fucking burning this video. The child, to make the child feel responsible for the other parent's needs. Letting the child actually take care of them. Victim parenting, guilt induction, manipulation. I will miss you when they go to the other parent. Negative body language and signaling. Alienated parent leaving papers around in the plain view. Tell the child that they can live with the other parent when they are of legal age. Child's memory alteration wiping. Stripping the PABs. presenting alternative accounts of previous events to child to distort child's relationship with other parent. Not speaking about the other parent, speaking about the other parent in derogatory terms. Mixed messages, getting their concealment, open reporting one side of what was said and getting the kids to cooperate with that side of the story. Mixed messages. Assaulting the other parent in front of the child. Ting, 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 ting. Creating conflict between the child and the other parent. Preventing the other parent from preventing parenting functions. Criticizing the parent over events claimed to have happened by the child. Promoting, encouraging false allegations from the child. Rewarding disrespectful behaviors in the child. Having the child spy on the other parent. Imply that one parent is better than the other. Undermining the targeted parent's values and hobbies. Criticizing, ridiculing. Fostering the making of false allegations by rewarding the child and making them. By framing them, the behavior such as the child feels making false allegations is not serious. Fostering the making of false allegations by rewarding the child for making them. By framing the behavior such that the child feels making false allegations is not serious. Strategy 9. Other alienating influences, grandparents and family step parents and siblings. Evidence of intergenerational and other influences on the parent. Evidence of the influences from other parents, others on the children. Physical aggression towards the other parent. Your missuses, ex-missus or ex-boyfriends, ex-husbands, whatever. Family members are kicking off at you and start beating you up in front of them. That's never happened to me. I think I think I can miss about so far. Honestly, there's 6 or 7 of these that I've had to say no, that's not happened. 6 was probably less than that. If I look at it in detail, I will be later. Evidence of others being misinformed. Yeah, filing false reports. Evidence of others being triangulated. External control of. Why is it so obvious? Why is it so obvious? And yet the fucking professionals can't see it. Verbal aggression towards the other parent. A degree of time between the other 2 seats of grandparents. Active expressions near the other siblings. Active behaviors by other siblings. Evidence of sibling alienation. Because it doesn't just stop there. Here we are. This is the deep bit now, man. This is when it gets deep. This is when it goes fucking different level. Yeah. Different level. Yeah. Manipulating professionals, agencies and records. Yeah. Police, criminal jurisdiction, medical, child services, schools. False or exaggerated complaints. Extreme wrong complaints. Has a knife. Sexual abuse. Cynical timing of complaints, i.e. calling the police during the other parents' visits. Ignoring police advice. Developing a series of logs adversely depicting the other parent. Wrong applications for non-application orders, non-molestation orders. Right. I would just say on this, right, within these groups that this is going out to, there's a lot of good people in there, but there's a few dicks everywhere else. But we all dick sometimes. I'll get that. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a certain type of group, and I'm with them. I'm fully supportive of them. So like anyone who touches kids and that sort of shit should be fucking shot and hung by the bollocks, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'm totally supportive of that. Totally. But then when you've got to be careful when you're going out and calling shit out on people, if it's actually real or not, because you're not just impacting that person because you're giving yourself some views or whatever on fucking Facebook, or you're getting yourself a few comments on posts or whatever, because you ain't got a lot of people who haven't got a clue who they're pulling out and whatever, because it's generally the police who've got the right information. And unless you're pulling someone out and they've actually got a conviction, no one has got a clue what goes on in people's lives, and yet people think they've got the right to go around and fucking accuse and say and fucking start rumors and shit. When it's quite obvious that we're all in the same fucking boat, when one way or another, when you're in family law, whether it be private or public, that shit happens, and it doesn't make all that shit that happens all real and true. Just fucking putting it out there to the aggressive people that probably beat up your wives, and that's why you're single. And now you go around protecting the kids because you want to touch them instead. Seeking advice, GP letters are with children. Medical. So seeking medical excuses for non-performance, concealing records, seeking diagnosis, wrong GP's letters, interfering DV to qualify for legal aid, wrong claims for a child being abused for this parents, necessitating intrusive examinations, conflicts between narratives at court and fact sheets stated on the medical, refusing to offer some help, i.e. from CAMS. Then you've got all this schooling stuff, and you're getting control from the school. Now, most people know what's happened to me with schooling in front of the court as well, as even said in front of the judge. And I'm now getting emails, and I'm now getting the school communicating with me regularly because there's been issues with Lila's education. So for me, making sure that you're not getting pulled out of school and you're part of that education piece is really, really important. Yeah, so making sure that the school's got the right information, because generally what will happen is they'll get the wrong information about the content of the court orders. Yeah, they'll be manipulating the child's reports to the teachers. The child's reporting to the teachers what they can control, what the child says to the teacher. Yeah, don't fucking give a shit what who thinks they know what. I'm telling you for a fact they can control what the child says to teachers. I can put money on it. When you've got years and years and years and a little bit chipping away, and these are kids that are easily manipulated. Maybe these people, maybe there should be a fucking Facebook group, right? There should be a Facebook group for people that go around, and I think it's important they do. They go around hunting down these paedophile hunters, and I think it's brilliant they do that. I think it's great. It's legitimate, and they're catching them up on that, and it's fine if they're convicted and that sort of shit, like I said. But what about this? Why don't we create a Facebook group or whatever for people who go hunting down the people who are alienating the fucking parents, the alienators? Why don't we do that? No, we don't, do we? No, we don't, because it'd be going around chasing women, wouldn't it? And there's some men in there as well, don't get me wrong, but we don't do that, do we? You actually don't go around calling things out the way they should do. Not placing the other parent as other parent or other contact, placing the step parent as the parent. No one's experienced that, have they? Having the step parent being like the parent. I've never been in a situation myself personally where my daughter's been in hospital and I've been the last to know. Never. Not providing school updates. Claiming support from other agencies that is not expressed or intended to be used, i.e. suspension of contact. Controlling children's interaction with other parents at school events. I've never been to school barbecues and been told to leave, otherwise my child would be taken away, and that'd be my fault. Never. Controlling children's interactions with the other parents. I've done that, and attempting to exclude the other parent from school events. Making the child uncomfortable about the other parent being at the school. Picking child up from school early on the other parent's parent days. Arranging the odd pickup times at 4 o'clock instead of fucking 5 o'clock, or changing times around. And then when you get there early or you get there late, they're like, whoa, you've just gaslighting you now. Woo. Becoming a governor of the school whilst deploying the alienation behaviours, and then they're controlling the school against you. That's never happened to me, that one. I can say that for sure. The school probably wouldn't allow that to happen. Refusing, opposing, obstructing, or school pickups for children, manipulating receptionists and new staff. It's all part of that narcissistic behaviour that they find it difficult to control. Child services, not cooperating with the agency meetings, not cooperating with the agency's advice, interfering in agency attempts to resolve issues. Does this sound familiar? Does it sound familiar to anybody? Does it? Preventing the other parent's responsibility by manipulating the birth registration on the process. I don't know how some people get to sleep at night. I really don't. Refusing to correct the birth registration. Forcing the parent's responsibility re-registration via court. Changing the child's name without notice, good reason, or informing the other parent. Calling the child by another name without telling the other parent. Smothering of time. Child isolation from other influences. Smothering of time, lack of extracurricular activities. Clubs that are actively triangulated, informed about other parents' activities, joining in. Being segregated from there. Lack of contact from other parents and children, lack of contact to alternative influences in the family, lack of contact to the other parent's extended family. Achieving isolation through false allegations. That's never happened to any one of our groups, has it? because we're just lazy deadbeat dads. That's all we are. We don't care. We don't care about our kids. I'll tell you now, every single client that I'm working with for is broken because they're trying to fight for their kids and they're not seeing their kids. And they've only, some of them just started. There's people who are broken and have been broken beforehand and weren't relying on their kids, but the kids made them complete. The kids make you complete, right? You're never going to be complete until you've got your kid with you. And even when you have got your kid with you, that's when you're complete. When Lyra's not with me, I'm not complete. I'm 90%. When Lyra's with me, I'm 100%. When I see a text message from her, it makes me 100% for 30 seconds, and then, or like fucking a minute, or whatever, and then I'll be reading it and I'm communicating with her. Arguing in front of the children. Reckless signaling, this is called. Arguing in front of the children. Allowing others to make negative comments in front of the children about the other parent. Negative dialogue about the other parent in child's earshot. Negative body language when communicating about things about the other parent. Relocation, child abduction without warning, pretense of holidaying and legally permitted duration within parental responsibility of 28 days, whilst using that period to gain a head start on the child abduction. Relocation to a jurisdiction with no extradition or agreement within the UK. Relocation to a jurisdiction that does not take its commitments to the Hague Convention seriously. Secreting second or spare passports to deploy. Surrendering passports when directed. This is all stuff that, this is sick world that we live in. And this is, and I think, I'd like to know, and I'm going to do some research into this. I'd like to know how long parental alienation has been going on for, because this is generations of shit, isn't it? Because if you think about it, society's generally got worse and worse over time, because that's what people say, like the youth today. But that's because marriage has been getting gradually, parents are alienated from the children. I respect every single man that has chosen to not stick around, or who have battled to try and be in the child's life, and then thought, fuck this, I'm going to either top myself or I'm going to fucking have to disappear and pretend this whole fucking event didn't happen. And I respect that, because you've made a choice and you've got to choose yourself or death, and you've chosen yourself. And I respect that fucking 100%, because I'd much rather someone be alive and live their life than commit suicide because they couldn't see the child and they spent so long trying to fight for that child. And you get an allegation left, right, and centre thrown at you and shit, and everywhere you go, it's just headache. It's headache. I don't know how I've managed to survive 10 years of it, to be honest with you. That's with helping people, I suppose, and enjoying the times when it's good, and then loving the times when it's bad, because when it's bad, you've got to take it as it's a lesson. Yeah, take it as a lesson, because you're going to learn something from it all every time. There'll be a new thing that happens, a new allegation, new fucking experience, new reason to go back to court. You think you're going to court just once in family court? Fuck that. No way. I don't know anyone who's just gone to court once. That's why the money is fucking incestuous. So there's that. So there's your parental alienation check sheet. I'm going to be sharing that into our Facebook group. It's available on Parental Alienation UK website, I think, or I just got it from their LinkedIn. So find them on LinkedIn. They're brilliant there. And they're really, really cool. So, and I totally endorse them. I think what they've done, the work they do, and I think they were in the co-op, I think, a few weeks ago as well. And they really are ways of raising awareness. So which is good. I'm not going to talk about anything else because I've got work to do. I don't want to say anything I shouldn't say. I think I've already probably said too much, and as it is. But I've only been speaking about a check sheet that's on the computer. And if anyone can relate to that, or if anyone feels guilty for that, then that's your own guilt. And if anyone wants to challenge me on anything I've said, then feel free to drop me a message and call me a wanker, because I'm quite used to that now. It means no odds to me, because I really couldn't give a flying anything of anyone thinks of me, or unless you are important to me, and you'd know if you're important to me, because I'll tell you you're important to me. And if you're a client, you're important to me. And if you are, if I'm talking to you, you're important to me. If I'm not talking to you and you have an opinion of me, you're not important to me. unless you want to take the time and get to know me and talk to me and ask me some direct questions yourself, then I'd be happy to answer anything and everything anyone wanted to ask me. So with that in mind, I'm going to do the Scooby-Doo, and I love you, and I will say peace and love to Lara's glove on that one there, and I'll stop that there. How do you stop that? Just turn that there. Yeah, stop. And then we say peace and love to Lara over here, and we stay strong, everyone. Stay strong, and don't let the fuckers get you down, because they can't. It's impossible. It's only if you let them. Yeah, and trust me, everyone, you're much stronger than what you fucking give yourself credit for. 100%.